Welcome to Happy Money. I am Julia Dennison. I'm your host here at Women's World Magazine. And today we are talking holidays, travel, spending. It's a joyful time of year, but it can also be a stressful time of year, especially for your wallet. I am here with Sean Pyles, who is not only a certified financial planner himself, but he is the award-winning, I've just heard that you've just won an Eddie. That's very exciting for your podcast, Smart Money. So it's Happy Money versus Smart Money here on the couch together. Yes. And we are going to be talking about NerdWallet just released a holiday spending report, which is really a really cool kind of litmus test and insight into what the holiday season is going to be like as we kind of head into it. So Sean, thank you so much for coming. I'm so glad we could sit on this couch together and talk money. Happy money, smart money, but coming together
I think
in
happy
harmony.
Money is smart money and vice versa.
Okay, so let's talk about holidays. You've just finished up your report. What are the kind of like broad takeaways from the report? How are people feeling this year when they're running up into the holidays? I will say that our holiday content, and we're recording this earlier in October, but our holiday content is already doing well, which is usually a sign that folks are ready to celebrate.
Well, the holidays are creeping earlier and earlier every year. I think eventually we will just have Christmas in July. It's inevitable. But there are three main things that stand out to me in our holiday shopping report. One is how much people are spending. The other is how people are spending that money. And the third is how people are responding to the broader economic environment right now. So when it comes to how much people are spending, on average, we expect folks to spend around $1,100 on gifts this year. And that's around $200 more than last year. And then when it comes to travel, folks are going to spend on average around $2,600. So people might be looking at around $3,700 for their holidays all in on average based on what our respondents said.
Oh gosh. Okay. So they're spending a little bit more, you were saying? On their
around
gift?
$200 more, a little bit less than $200 more than last year.
Is that just inflation or is that folks are like, we need it this year?
I think some of it's inflation. Yeah. One thing that we've seen as well in broader industry reports around this is that while holiday sales on the aggregate will be up an estimated around like 5-ish%, that's slower growth than in years past.
Oh, okay.
So in 2020, we saw growth that was, I think, 20 or 30% compared to the year prior. Last year, I want to say it was around 8%. So 5% growth is slower growth than last year.
Okay. And what about their spending on travel? What you anticipate them spending on travel? Is that going up? Has that gone up this year or is it about the same?
The travel, I don't have specific numbers on how much that has changed year over year, but to me, it stands out how much people are trying to save on travel. 90% of our respondents said they're trying to do something to save on travel. And that's going to often mean flying either on the holiday itself or maybe for Thanksgiving a few days before the holiday and making a longer weekend out of it, just doing anything to save costs where they can. Yeah,
actually, you know what? Let's start with holiday travel because I feel like that's usually what you kind of try to, at least I try to sort that out first, especially if you're like, trying to plan ahead and book those flights. What tips would you have for booking travel around the holiday in order to save money?
Yeah, I would say plan early. And if this is airing in November, it might be a little too late for Thanksgiving, but it's probably not too late for Christmas.
Well, true.
But step on it and know what the flights might be or know when you might want to drive out. For me, I typically will drive for Christmas. And one of my easy ways to save money is honestly just using cruise control. You'll be amazed how much gas you can save just improving your mileage using cruise control. And it also makes the drive a little bit less stressful too.
See, my boyfriend always wants me to use cruise control. And I'm always like, but then I don't have control myself. I like the ability to speed up and get there faster. But probably it's probably, I'll be there at the same time and saving that little much more.
Exactly. Yeah. You can be a little bit less stressed about speeding up and getting around all the cars.
So tell me about booking flights. Because I never know if you should book it way ahead or if it's like, are there ever last minute deals with flights or is it flights are just like always try to book those?
For the holidays, there are rarely going to be last minute deals because everyone is traveling at that time. So it's really smart to look and keep an eye on things a couple months in advance so you can know when might be a good time. I'm really a fan of Google Flights because it will tell you if this is a good price for your specific flight or if it's getting more expensive. And you can see how that will change over time. And if you do find that the flight that you want to your destination is at a good price, I would recommend going ahead and getting it.
And then when you're booking it, should you do it like I've heard tips like go in incognito mode or like, is there anything, should you book directly with the airline or should you, book through a third party?
I will typically book directly through the airline because that way if something does go awry, you don't have to deal with a third party. But if you can find a better deal through them too, and you don't mind maybe having a little bit more of a hassle if you do need to change your flight, that's a personal choice that you can make too. But whether it comes down to like if incognito makes a difference or not, I don't exactly know one way or another, because I think at this point they have all of our information anyway. So they know what we're doing. Okay. But what I would say is try to use a credit card that's going to get you a good amount of points for your purchase, because that is how you can actually kind of semi-offset this really expensive time of year. It's just getting value for the money you're spending.
And NerdWallet's really great about doing roundups of like the best credit cards with the best points. Is there any like you recommend, or is there any that are like stand out right now, or what should you be looking for when it comes to credit cards that can help you the points?
We have monthly roundups that come out, so folks should check those out for sure. And for me, I tend to be kind of simpler when it comes to credit cards, and so I will get a general kind of all-purpose travel credit card and keep it easy in that way. I don't like to pay a lot in annual fees too, so it comes down to personal preference and what you might want. So say you fly one airline a lot, like I live in Portland, Oregon, Alaska is a hub there. So I actually just ventured out of my comfort zone and got the new Alaska credit card, because there are a lot of great perks for it, because I know I'm going to fly Alaska a lot. But if someone doesn't live near an Alaska hub, it wouldn't really make sense for them to get this specific card.
So I guess like if you have family in a certain area that you know you're going to be visiting around the holidays every year, then it might be worth seeing if they have a hub near their airport and looking for that credit card. For example, we have family in Florida, and we'll have the JetBlue credit card because we're always using JetBlue. So, okay, that's really interesting. All right, so booking travel, you've booked your travel. Now you're kind of thinking ahead for gifts. Now, I know we are, as we're recording this, there's Prime Day happening. There's then Black Friday sales coming up. Should you be like spreading your spending throughout the year? What are your tips, and like when is the best time to be buying your holiday gifts?
When you know what you're going to get someone and you can find the right price for it, that's a good time to get it. So I actually like to spread out my purchases throughout the year. So if I'm traveling somewhere, for example, I went to London in May and I picked up some gifts for some family and friends there, because I know, okay, this is how I can begin to gradually build up my chest of gifts for everyone and not have it happen all at once last minute, which can lead to overspending or maybe getting a gift that you actually don't really think they will like just because you feel obligated to do it. So
So I feel like I'm supermarket sweep when it comes to doing my holiday shopping. Like I am not the best planner, so I'll often be a couple days before in store, just like whatever works. But I often feel like if I did this and I planned it further in advance and I actually made those Christmas lists that I wanted to get folks, then probably better off.
Planning is so key, because one of the best ways to save money too. So what I like to do is I will write a list of everyone that I know I want to buy a present for, and I will categorize it by how much money I want to spend on them. Because my partner, I'm going to spend a lot of money on them probably because I just love them so much. But if it's like their aunt, who I also adore, I'm going to spend a little bit less money, but I want them to get something good too. And then
is this a spreadsheet?
Yes, it's a spreadsheet.
I thought so.
And then I'll also go back and I'll fill in what I ended up buying this person and what it actually cost, because there may be some discrepancy every so often. And that's okay, because sometimes these lists are aspirational, but at least you have some kind of framework to base this off of.
So it's planning ahead, it's coming up with those lists, it's budgeting how much you want to spend per person. And then in terms of, you were saying like making sure you get the right price for what you want to get them. What tips do you have for finding the best price for a specific item? Yeah,
a lot of it's going to be comparison shopping from one site to the next, or even using tools. Like there's one Camel that can help you compare prices on Amazon over time. I find that really helpful ahead of like Prime Day or Cyber Monday, or in October, we just had the Amazon Big Deals Day or whatever they wanted to call it. What we've seen in the past is that sometimes retailers will actually increase their prices right before these sale days, and then they bring them back down to what is like, it seems like a sale relative to the increase of it. So you may not want to get something if it's actually not truly discounted, but just being informed and knowing what you might want to expect over time for the price is a good thing to do. Also, ChatGPT can be really helpful here too, where you can say, okay, ChatGPT, what's the going price for a set of AirPods right now? And it will give you information on it, and it will let you know whether you can find it at a better price somewhere else. Okay, got it. That's so interesting. So put those prompts in ChatGPT. I guess you could probably put your whole list in ChatGPT and get some that's actually a really helpful way to shop as well. If you say, hey, I have $500 to spend on the holidays this year. I have these people and I want to spend this amount on each person. What's an idea, or how can I break this out budget wise to actually maximize my spending and get people good gifts? And now you can shop, you can make purchases through ChatGPT with some retailers, especially Etsy right now, but Shopify is going to be on there soon. It may be on there by the time this is live. So that is a fascinating development. And it's one that I'm personally a little wary of, because I do a lot of research ahead out of all of my purchases. And I worry that people might end up buying things that aren't what they expect if they're doing it solely through ChatGPT. So as ever with AI tools, for me, it's a trust but verify. Go to the source to confirm what you're getting.
Also, I know what I'm like with a TikTok shop, and it's not good.
Yep.
It's a lot of impulse buying. So
I've certainly bought some crap off TikTok shop, and it's not what I thought it was going to be when it arrived.
It's amazing how like influencing these influencers on TikTok can be.
Yes.
They know what they're doing.
Yes.
Okay, so what kind of gifts are you seeing people buy this year? I don't know if you looked into that at all in the holiday report, but are there any kind of trends around what kind? Are they bigger gifts? Are they smaller gifts? What are you kind of seeing?
We haven't seen a lot specifically around what people are buying, but the same things kind of come up year after year. We know like name brand electronics are really big. Like, there is the AirPods, the iPads, all of that. We tend to see pretty good deals on those around the holiday shopping days. Same with kids' toys, but you're probably going to want to avoid things like winter clothes, for example. They don't tend to be on sale until maybe January, February, because right now is like the peak time to buy them because we're all getting bundled up. So think about where you can find deals on things and where things are maybe not going to be on sale.
And are there certain items that are better deals around Black Friday, for example?
Electronics. That's the big thing on Black Friday.
Okay, so you think if you know you want to get your aunt some AirPods, is it worth waiting until, I guess it's Prime Day, or waiting until Black Friday?
Yeah. Again, I would say if you know what you want, begin to look at prices. And then if you see that really good deal on Black Friday, just go ahead and get it.
Okay. All right. Well, we love a deal, but sometimes they can be a little too enticing. And we're starting to see a lot of scams. We're writing on a lot of scams at Women's World. It feels like, the scammers are getting smarter and smarter, I think, especially in the run up to the holidays. Are you seeing any kind of holiday related scams that people are falling for?
Yes.
And do you have tips for like avoiding them? Because I always feel like I'm pretty good at spotting a scam, but they're getting smarter. And there are definitely texts that I sometimes get where I go, is that my bank? Is that not my bank?
Yeah, well, I'm glad you mentioned the text because people should be very wary of any inbound communication. This could be a text where it seems like it's from USPS, UPS, FedEx, or Amazon, or some sort of vendor where you think, okay, you need to click this link to confirm that shipment is going to be on its way or to complete a purchase. Even if you just shopped at Amazon, it's probably not from them. So what people should do in that case, if they get any sort of direct inbound communication where it seems like it's from a bank or someone they might even trust, go back to that source. Don't click any sort of link. If you get a call from someone that says, oh, hey, we are your bank, we need you to verify your information, hang up and call the number on the back of your credit card because there are pervasive impersonation scams, and this can be impersonation through the text message, them pretending to be some sort of mail carrier or someone pretending to be your bank. And scammers will try to strike urgency and make you think that you have to respond immediately. It might be something like, if you don't click this link the next 5 minutes, your order is not going to come through. And you think, oh shoot, I really need my gifts to arrive tomorrow. I better click this link. But in fact, you can save a lot of money and heartache and stress by just not clicking that link.
Better safe than sorry.
Yes. Another thing too I'll recommend is be very cautious about what website URLs you are at, because scammers are now using AI to duplicate websites almost exactly to a T. So it might look exactly like Walmart or Amazon or whatever vendor you're at, but the URL will be slightly different. And
How do
you might
you
not be
avoid
able
that?
to tell. You just check the URL and be careful of any link that you click. So just be very cautious with where you're going.
Okay. All right. So scams aside, thinking about things that might be a little too good to be true or maybe not, we hear a lot about buy now, pay later as like a very popular option. And I know that like it's often the holidays can feel very tight financially. And, if you were not that person that budgeted ahead of time, or you don't have that extra money to spend on the holidays the way you want to spend on the holidays, what tips would you have for that person? Is it worth looking at credit card deals? Is it worth doing buy now, pay later? Or is it just better to just buy things within your means?
The last one for sure, buy things within your means. One of our colleagues at NerdWallet is actually doing a thrifted holiday this year. And she's been able to save hundreds of dollars by thrifting gifts because she has 2 young kids. So it's been a really smart way to save some money there. I understand that a lot of people are going to go into debt for the holidays. Every year we run a similar report like this, and we find that around this year, around 30% of people who used their credit cards to shop last year for the holidays haven't paid off their credit card debt yet. And around 10% of respondents actually haven't paid off their credit card from multiple holidays. So it can be a really slippery slope and hard to get out of because credit card debt is just so expensive. Buy now, pay later doesn't really have the exorbitant interest rates of credit cards, but the danger is that it can be really easy to stack multiple buy now, pay later loans. And as of this fall, buy now, pay later loans are being incorporated into your FICO score. So if you can't stay on top of all of these loans, it could negatively affect your credit too. So that's a big risk.
That is so hard. I mean, I don't know if you can talk about the psychology at all. It's like, what is that? What is it about the holidays that makes us all want to spend or overspend, even when it means like you're not even paying it off for a whole another year or more?
Yeah, so much of it is, I think, peer and family pressure and tradition. This is how we express love this time of year for a lot of families. But one thing that stood out to me in the report too is that there's an appetite for this to change. Around 60% of respondents said that they would actually prefer if their holiday traditions were less gift focused. So that might mean doing things like shared experiences together instead of buying a whole bunch of stuff that you don't need. So while it can be awkward and uncomfortable to broach that subject, thinking, hey, mom and dad or brother, sister, cousin, can we maybe go out to a weekend retreat here together, like get an Airbnb or something together versus buying a bunch of gifts? How can we rethink what our holidays are so we're not all going into debt for things that like we frankly don't actually need? Yeah,
and maybe there's like Secret Santa or a white elephant, or maybe you agree ahead of time on a budget, or say like we're only doing one present max, or
but
having
have
some
that
of those
conversation
ahead of time with your family, and like your family understands. They don't want you to be hurting yourself financially just to be able to like have fun at the holidays. And so you were saying that your colleague is into the thrifting holidays. Are there any other tips out there in terms of like having like a lower key holiday? You think experiences, thrifting?
I'm really big on homemade personal gifts. My sister-in-law loves hot sauce. And so the past couple of years, I have made her hot sauce from peppers that I grew in my garden.
I love that.
And that is really personal. And each year the hot sauce is slightly different. And she loves the hotter the better. So last year she was like, the year before it was a little spicier. So try again next year. And so that makes
bow on it.
Yeah, but it makes a fun little tradition where you can have something that's unique and personal. It lets them know still, I'm thinking about you. I see you. I know what your interests are. Here's a sweet little something that didn't cost me $50.
And this year feels like people are especially feeling the pinch. There's a lot of conversation around inflation and the tariffs. So it feels like this of any years is a good year to have that conversation with your family about maybe keeping it a little lower key. With the tariffs, are you seeing folks like keeping that in mind when it comes to their holiday shopping?
So it was around 74% of respondents said that tariffs are impacting the way they're thinking about holiday shopping this year. So that might mean that they are buying less because things are more expensive, or maybe buying things earlier so they can get things while they're in stock or when they do find a good deal on it. So it's shifting people's mentality. They're more proactive around it, which I think is good. They're mindful of how expensive things could be or that it might not be available, but it's definitely top of mind for a lot of consumers.
And are there certain products that are going to be more expensive because of the tariffs this holiday season?
It depends on which country has which amount of tariffs that day.
Got it.
But yes, exactly.
Okay. And is there what do you recommend in terms of like checking to see if now is a good moment to be buying a certain product?
Because the tariffs have been so volatile. A lot of it does come back to, again, knowing what you want and keeping an eye on prices over time. And if you think, based on your own informed decision-making and research, that you have a good price on a certain day, it's probably a good idea to get it then.
Okay. All right. So holidays aside, the end of year is also a really nice moment to kind of look at your finances and see where you stand. And hopefully you're not paying off last year's holiday spending. What kind of advice would you have in terms of like taking a look and using the end of the year as a moment to like look at your finances for the year and just kind of like go into the next year on the best, with the best foot forward when it comes to your money?
This is a great time to spend a moment and reflect and think about where you were in January, what you wanted to accomplish with your money, see how things actually panned out. Obviously, we're not going to be able to accomplish all the things we want to do with our finances in a given year because so many things could come up. But take that moment to reflect and see how you can grow on the progress that you did make and where you want to make some adjustments going forward. And that might mean auditing things like your retirement savings, how much you have in your high yield savings account. If you do have one, you probably should if you don't. And what your habits are in terms of like maybe charitable contributions, those sorts of things, so you can actually set yourself up for success next year and think about what your goals might want to be going into 2026.
Talking about the high yield savings accounts, roundups. I know NerdWallet also does some great roundups.
Yes, we have monthly roundups of those too.
Because that changes all the time in terms of which bank is offering the best. Is it APY?
Yeah. So you'll get a much greater yield on your savings at a high yield savings account versus a traditional savings account with a brick and mortar bank. You might get like 0.03% at a traditional brick and mortar bank, where right now as we're recording this, it might be around 4%, but it will change based on the Federal Reserve's interest rates too. So if those continue to go down, you get a lower yield, but it still loads better than what you would get at another bank.
That is some sweet cash in your bank account. Yes. I was very happy when I heard that tip about high yield savings accounts. It's very much worth it. Even if it's like moving your money around from bank account to bank account, which can be a little bit burdensome in terms of admin, but
if you set up direct deposits and automated transfers, it can be really easy to set this up.
Got it. All right. So if we're looking at the end of the year and thinking about our resolutions and thinking about the year ahead, if you have any big events now, I have heard you were just telling me that you're getting married this year. Congratulations.
Yes. Thank you so much.
That's so exciting.
Yeah.
So do you have any tips if you have like a wedding coming up or a big event or something happening in your family, a big graduation, and you know it's coming up within the next calendar year?
Yeah.
What tips do you have in terms of just like saving up for that or getting your money in order as you enter the new year?
So I am a bit of an outlier with my savings accounts, where I have around 10 different checking and savings accounts for different goals. Yes. But
Tell me more.
So I have my emergency fund. I have a fund for my house. I have one for my taxes. I have one for my car. I have one for my wedding. And I've been saving it for my wedding for about 5 years now. My partner and I we were long-term engaged is what I call it. We're getting married on about our 10-year anniversary.
Wow.
So I had 5 years to save up for this. And so I had this designated fund, and I would put a certain percentage of every single paycheck into this fund in my high yield savings account over the past 5 years. And I've earned hundreds of dollars in interest by having this account set up properly. And so setting up these automated deposits made it so that I didn't have to think about where my money was going. It was just automatically going in there. Yeah. And I saved up around $20,000 over those 5 years just by being really diligent.
Wow.
And I've ramped it up over the past 12 months or so I could hit our target for it. Okay. But it made it so I wasn't nearly as stressed around how much money I would be able to spend on our wedding.
That is so cool. So having those different accounts, was that more of like a psychological thing just to have the different buckets? Or is it that different accounts do different things depending on what you're trying to spend on?
It's sort of a form of mental accounting, but in my different accounts formed. So in general, like I could just have it all in one pool, but I tend to be very organized with my finances, where I like to know, okay, like, yes, my car is paid off, but I know I'm going to have some maintenance on it. So I want to have money in this account for things like registration, or if I have to get new tires, and not have it be pulled from my emergency fund or my checking account. And for things like taxes, I have a business, I rent out a property. I know I'm going to owe some taxes come tax season. Right. So let me not have sticker shock when that comes around and just begin to automatically save money for it too. So it helps me stay ahead of the curve and be proactive when I know I'm going to have a bill coming up eventually. Got it.
Okay. So as a financial planner, what is one thing that you're not doing at your wedding?
I'm not spending more than I can afford. Okay. I'm having a pretty small wedding. It's about 60 people. And that is the biggest money saver, because the more people you have, the more expensive it gets. Like for our reception, we're renting out part of a restaurant. We can only fit 60 people. We wanted to have closer to 85. If we were going to do that, it was going to go from around $5,000 for the reception to $15,000. Just having 25 more people.
Wow. Okay.
And so we are really trying to save money there, in part because we have our honeymoon right after our wedding too. So that, of course, is adding to our costs, but in the best way.
And is there anything that you're prioritizing in terms of like food, flowers, music? Champagne.
It's the venue. My partner and I met in San Francisco, and so we're getting married at San Francisco City Hall on the mayor's balcony, and it's just a beautiful place. Special. And I splurged, and I'm hiring a harpist for the event, and it's going to be so beautiful. So it's all about the space and having our family there, and that's what was important to us.
Love that. Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
All right, I'm going to ask you a couple of rapid fire questions. Let's see. What is your go-to money saving hack for the holidays if you had to say one thing?
Research. Know when you can get a good price on something.
What is the best under $25 gift you've ever given or received?
So I mentioned the hot sauce that I made. That was definitely under $25. But in terms of received, my partner crocheted me a cardigan for my birthday last year.
That's so
And
cute.
It was beautiful. It probably cost more. If you think about hours that he spent making it for me,
fair.
Maybe more than 25, but in terms of materials, probably around that.
And it's so special.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's worth it. What is one thing that you'll never buy on Black Friday?
Again, something I've never researched. I need to know what I'm getting, what the price is going to be. And so if I haven't seen this product product before, I'm not just going to get it right then.
So like emphasis on the planner side of the financial planner.
Exactly.
All right. So finish this sentence. You did this a little bit up top, but we'll do it again. So finish this sentence. Happy money is...
purposeful money. Yeah.
I like that. This has been Happy Money. Thank you so much, Sean, for coming on the show. We're so happy to have you. Those were some awesome, awesome tips. And as we always say, the best investment is the investment that you can make in yourself.